Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. In 2023, I believe, towards the end, we had Shotgun from Your Friends in Hell on. Then in 2024, we had Mea Culpa from Your Friends in Hell. And today, I am proud to say we have Mea Culpa, Shotgun, and Crab Calloway of Your Friends in Hell on the podcast. I'm so excited for that. Man, they're so amazing. They're great people. Their music is awesome. And they're just always having a lot of fun, a lot of good energy. You're going to hear that in this episode. Stick around to the end of the episode to hear a song from Your Friends in Hell. This is the last episode of 2024. Thank you, everybody, for such an amazing year. We will have like the anniversary show sometime in either January or February. I don't know yet. We're so busy. Thank you for everybody who voted for us for the Boston Music Awards. We did not win, but we keep really good company on that list, so I don't mind as long as we're nominated, you know. Thank you, everybody, for everything. I hope you have a happy new year. This is episode 310 of the Struggling Artist Podcast, Struggling with Your Friends in Hell. How we all doing? How are my friends in hell?
Oh, we're well.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
We're still friends and still
Still in hell.
It was funny. So when did I see you guys last? I just saw you.
Miracle
on Comav, right? Miracle on Comav. Yeah. And I had carpooled with Chris from, he used to be in the Scars, and he has Mass Spy now. And he was like, he came up to me and he was like, my friends in hell, and I'm like, they're just yours. And he was like, no, I mean your friends in hell. Do you know them? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he's like, all right, cool, because he was like making sure I knew everybody, you know.
Oh, nice.
I was like, oh, they're just yours. Okay, I see how it is, bud. So, that was an awesome show, huh? That was a good
really
time.
Good time.
Yeah.
It's always a good time when I see you guys. Seriously, it's like, I don't know. And I feel like I always get fucking weird.
That's my life, man.
Yeah, that's just like the community we are, right? Like we're all just a bunch of weirdos, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I just, sometimes I'm like, oh, nobody likes me. I gotta go. And I take off and like, and I know it's not the case, or at least I hope it's not the case, but.
No. No, I totally get that. I think we kind of come at this whole thing from, I think, a different perspective of some of the other bands, in the sense that we started this band when we were like a little on the older end of the bell curve for starting a band. But like, because of that, you know, we've lived lives, and we now really, as people, see a lot of the value of community and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like the making music and all that is great, and we certainly want to take it as far as we can as a band. But in the meantime, we've got this awesome world of friends and other bands and people that we can talk to and connect with, and you yourself included. And,
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I've had Mia on and I've had Shotgun on. Crab, this is your first time being on, so I don't know if you ever heard this or not, but I was like, what you guys are doing, like making like this, like you're not that. You have like the community. We have this community of people and friends and music and musicians but like I feel like you guys make it such a safe space for everybody, and like very inclusive in that sort of way. And I love that. Like that's one of the biggest like things I love about you guys. Now you guys are gonna you won't hear it today. But as at the time we were recording this, tomorrow we drop the Squally episode for Miracle on Comm Ave, and when we get to you guys, we kind of gush over you guys for a little while. So be sure to listen. It's like a 2-hour episode, so if you've got to fast forward to your part, that's okay. You know,
no, you never.
Like I like listening to the episodes about bands that we may have crossed paths with or that we don't know as well, but have maybe seen their name around, and like you get to listen to their episode and hear like what they're about, and then it's kind of like, oh, we see they're playing with someone that we do know or something, and it's like, I listened to your episode, and it makes you feel like you know them a little better, and it's like helps build that community vibe.
Yeah.
It always blows my mind when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I heard your podcast," and I don't know them. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry," you know.
Yeah. It is a really jarring feeling whenever people do know us from the band and just from that, and it's a wonderful feeling. But you do feel it really triggers my imposter syndrome like fucking crazy. I'm like,
I'm just a man.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. We respect both you and Squally a lot as dudes who seem to know everybody, and so when you guys say that you like what we're doing, then we know that's compared against a lot of other folks, so we're very grateful.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's like I mean, you probably heard it when you came in when you guys came on. I was listening to once again. I was listening to when we were alive, and like I just like I don't know. And I'm going to try not to repeat what I said on the Squally episode. It's obviously going to overlap a little bit because I'm talking directly to you, and I don't want to talk about you, right? I don't want to talk behind your back, even though it's positive. But like, it's like, there's layers to what you guys do. And like, it's weird. I almost forget that like, you guys are like a spooky band, so to speak. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because of what you guys are doing. And like, I think that takes, it means it, I think it should, for yourselves, I feel like that should validate you as a band, right? Cause like, you're not like a, just like a, I don't know, what do they call it? Like a gimmick band or something like that. Right. You're definitely not, you know?
Yeah.
That's just like another fun element to what you do. And I think it has to do with having fun. I feel like every time I've seen you guys perform, like you're making sure everyone's having fun and you guys are having a blast.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of bands that really kind of go to the stage with this attitude of like, you're lucky to be in the audience watching us right now. And like, especially when you're talking about local bands and local community, it's just not true. We're very lucky for everybody who comes out to see our shows, and we believe in putting on like a good show and a good performance and that sort of thing. But we do like tonal variation. Like we'll hook them with the Bigfoot song or the Misfits cover band. But then if they stick around and then they catch like When We Were Alive or Paper Ghosts or something, that's when we really like. I've said it before, but like it is a wonderful feeling to hear people laughing in the audience or to hear people singing along to the sing-along parts. But for me, there is no better feeling than when we finish a song like Paper Ghost or When We Were Alive, and there's this moment of like silence. And you can tell that the audience was like rapt by this. And then everybody bursts out clapping or whatever. That's the best feeling in the world for me by a mile. And I think we try to keep people on their toes. You never know what the next song is going to be. Is it going to be funny or is it going to be really, really sad? And either way, we want it to be something that brings people in and doesn't just make it seem like we're the cool kids in the room. You know, we are very rarely the coolest kids in the room.
I hear you there. Yeah, I'm never I'm always the disruptive one.
But we talked about being like a novelty band before. I mean, like, because we do have like goofy songs and stuff, and like, don't like I think we've had the conversation about like what if something happened and we became a one-hit wonder for like Misfits cover band or like for Real Real or something, and then it's like, oh, it's the Bigfoot band. Like, like, no, we got other songs. And they're good.
They're good. They'll make people cry at them.
People cry. If you guys were ever to become the Bigfoot band, I would gladly wear a Sasquatch costume for you.
Oh, we'll sign you in.
Yeah.
Okay, we're holding you to that, though. So be careful.
Yeah.
But you would have to be called the big, like that's it. Like that's all you. Yeah, you'd have to lose you'd have to lose your true identities and be this one thing for me to be the Bigfoot every time. You know.
I mean, listen, if this level of success finally pays off my student loans, then I'm in.
I'll be the Bigfoot.
I'll be the fucking Bigfoot band. I don't give a shit.
No doubt. Is there so? When you first started writing the songs and you guys started playing out and everything, and like, is there a different, like, were you doing like the fun hooky songs kind of just to get like, just to say I can do this, but then as you started writing, like it got more internal for you, or has there always been that like just doing it in general is internal, like is a you know what I mean, like is wearing
That's a good question. When we're working on songs, there really tends to be a sort of rotation where we'll do a serious song and then we'll do like a kind of harder punk song or something, and then we'll do something funny and silly. And it isn't like built into our rules. It's not like a process that we follow. I think it's really just that we just like to mix it up. You know, we just worked on a serious song, let's have fun with something. You know, we just worked on a funny song, let's do something else. And
is it to lighten the mood?
Yeah, I mean, well, I can't. A band practice is like our favorite time of the week. It's always a lot of fun. All of our songs become funny songs at band practice. Thanks mostly to Crab Calloway over here, who will relentlessly make fun of my lyrics. And
I was hired not to make fun of the lyrics, but I was officially hired as Crab Calloway to change all the lyrics to lyrics that rhyme with his serious lyrics to make them just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable.
Exactly. So, and which always makes it really fun and lighthearted. Although, truth be told, it's been really good for me.
It's very grounding.
Well, it's grounding, and like when I first started, like I didn't have a lot of onstage performance experience before this band, and like I used to, if we were in band practice and I stumbled over a word or forgot something, I totally lost it. You know, I forgot exactly where I was in the song. I got thrown all the way off. So with these assholes making fun of me in band practice, it really keeps me loose. And then I've had to learn how to like adapt and laugh but then keep going with the song. So that's been really, unfortunately, valuable for me.
We're happy to help.
But we try to always make sure that it's fun and you know, life is hard enough. So band practice should be a fun time, and our shows should be a fun time, and I think there's catharsis to like an emotional release. But I think that is best done, in my opinion, when you do have that variation. And I really like when a band can be really serious in their subject matter, but be really fun and lighthearted when they're like in between songs and talking around or things like that, because it doesn't treat you like this is this doomy, overly serious thing that you're stuck at or anything like that either, you know?
Yeah. When I did storytelling stuff, like that's how I kind of approached it, like making fun of myself by having a serious thing. So like there were moments where it would be serious, but for the most part, I'm just trying to make people laugh. Cause like, you know, the stuff I write now is the more downer shit that I've ever written. And I'm like, and that's why I'm kind of like hesitant about putting it out there. Cause I was like, this is really bleak. Like, you know, I want to ask you though. So, you know, you say like you didn't have a lot of like stage performance, but like, didn't you work at haunts and stuff? Isn't that?
Yeah, I've done a lot of weird little things. So Crab had by far the most amount of stage experience in the band.
Oh, we're gonna get to Mr. Calloway. Yeah. Trust me.
Oh, good. And then
He's been around.
Mia was doing a lot of like internet performance and stuff. I done a lot of weird shit. So my experience, frankly, I don't know if there's a short way to explain it. I worked at a place called Five Wits, which is basically like high-tech interactive entertainment experiences. It was like an escape room, but a little bit more high-tech. But a guide would go in with you, and we were like one part making sure you don't destroy the thing and move you along at a quick pace, but one part like entertaining. So me and the other folks who worked in a fake ancient Egyptian tomb, would have to do a lot of like improving and rolling with stuff. So I was pretty familiar with like standing in front of a group of people and like commanding this group of people in a way that makes them feel good and like they're enjoying a fun show, but still gets things done and moves things along or whatever. So I had that experience. And then I had spent a little bit of time in like some various acting roles, like working at the haunted house, but this was different. You know, it's like it's way easier to be the goof, or it's easier to really make everything about the other people. You know, to be up there and like the fine line of like, I want to give you the confidence that you are in the right place. You're watching a band that feels confident, that knows what they're doing, that cares, and that they're going to make you feel like, hey, don't worry, we got you, while still being like humble and relaxed enough that you don't seem like a bunch of douchebags up on stage or whatever. Like, it's an interesting thing, and I do think that my weird experience at the ancient Egyptian tomb helped a lot with that.
Well, I would just say too, for as long as I've known Shotgun, which is we're coming up on 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Same.
You know, he's been kind of an MC and kind of a creator of not only events but games, you know, parties and all sorts of. So this kind of stuff, just I don't know, it seems so natural to you.
I like this kind of stuff. I want to live in a world full of fun, weird parties and adventures and activities and things. And if I want to live in that world, I feel like I got to help contribute to making it a little bit, you know. So yeah, we used to throw like a party like 4 times a year and really make it like a fun, full of games and activities and weird
the
things.
origin of Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween. So our recurring event, Halloween, started as like a party that we threw every year, and it was just like a second Halloween party. But I really kind of believe that if you're gonna have a second Halloween, it has to feel like Halloween. You have to really go hard with like the decorations and the costumes and all, because you're fighting reality, you know.
The man doesn't want you to have to Halloween.
It's May.
It's
It's May, and you're going outside, and there's like spring
goddamn
and-
summer out, you know.
Yeah, you got to really push the Halloween part if you're going to want it to feel like anything at all. So, I've still always thought it was like the low hanging fruit. It kind of blows my mind that other people weren't doing like Halloween events, because for me it seems natural. It makes sense.
Yeah. I want to talk about this past year's Halloween show, but before I do, I kind of want to shift gears to Crab. So this is your first time on the show. Welcome, Crab. You know, it isn't because of anything other than we just haven't gotten to it. I promise. You know,
I know.
it's always a delight to see you out in public, you know, and talk to you. So
yeah, absolutely.
so break it. So let's get a little. What's a little history on Crab Calloway?
It's a good question.
Where did it come from?
Yeah, so I didn't touch a string. Well, I touched viola when I was young, but I didn't touch a guitar until I was like 18 or 19.
And you're 21 now.
Yeah.
It's only been a few years.
It's been a solid few years.
Couple of those, yeah.
And my friends had a kind of a garage band, and they asked me to sing, and I didn't know how to sing, and you know. They kind of kidnapped me one day and brought me to band practice and put a microphone in front of me and just said, "We need a singer. Just sing. Just do it." So I was terrible, but I progressively got better.
I thought you were a good singer. I thought your singer was good.
That was a band called Better Life. Started out just kind of like a grungy rock band. We played covers from like Toadies and Local H and you know, the Pumpkins and all those fun things. And then we got a little bit more serious for the next, you know, in the next 15, 20 years. I kind of went through a couple of iterations of more kind of aggressive rock, but very like a little more polished. I joined an a cappella group at one point to get better at singing.
Which is a good call.
Which helped. I
That'll
just kind of threw myself into music and live shows and did everything from recording to playing out. Did a little tour down to the South and back. So it's been something that I've always, whenever I've put it down, I've felt extremely compelled to go back to it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's how things become a way of life, you know?
Yeah. But eventually Shotgun asked me if I'd play bass. I had never played bass before. But I just said, yeah. Absolutely.
We'll figure it out.
I bought a $100 bass
The
Yep.
crabby.
that was it was made out of balsa wood. You could probably fly it. Put some wings on it. And I that was pretty funny. People would ask me after shows like, "I've never seen that kind of bass. What is it?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah, right. You don't need to worry about that.
It's fine.
But it's been a great few years with these guys. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, is the other band still active?
No, we've kind of we're all still friends. We actually Phil and Morgan, friends of mine who were in the name of the band is Howl with an exclamation point. That was our most recent iteration. They're actually recording some of our new stuff for Your Friends in Hell.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're all friends. They have their band, the Innsmouth Look.
Yeah, it was a great band.
Yeah, really good friends. And
Yeah, great friends, great dudes. Yeah,
That's awesome. So, being another Shotgun, this is like the first band, right? This is your band. This is the first band, right?
yeah.
And
In high school, we started a band called Frosty Roadside and the Hypnosis. Shout out to Frosty, but we had like one song that we played one time, so it didn't really make it. But yeah, I like went to art school and focused on illustration for a long time, which I still do. But like I needed a break from that. I kind of, it starts, you spend too much time in that sort of field and you start to hate it. And I wanted to do something with some more self-expression. And my partner Suds joined roller derby, and I watched her like make these wonderful friends through this nice community, and I realized I need something in my life like that. And so I really kind of started with this, thinking that I would only ever like play open mics with some of my silly songs or whatever. But then I was fortunate enough to find some like-minded people and some people who gave us kind of a leg up. I think it was actually a surprise blessing when we started, because we kind of came out of COVID like ready to go. I had access to a giant room during COVID, so it made it easy to do band practice and still socially distance. But then our first show was in that first burst out where people didn't have to wear masks anymore, and everybody was just like so thrilled to be out and about again.
You're like,
And,
thank God that's over.
right. but a lot of bands had either gone stagnant or weren't really doing their thing anymore. So it was easy for us to get a show right away, which I think might not be the case with another band that had zero experience and hadn't played a show before, So Heather at Tiny Oak took a risk and gave us a wonderful show. And yeah, so then that gave us a lot of like quick traction. We try to make friends with all the bands that we play with, both because it's nice and it's part of the community and we like that, and and that leads to other stuff. Then you go to their shows and you see who they play with and you make friends with those people, and then maybe you play a show with them someday and all this kind of stuff. So that very first show we met Growler Graves from the Merciless Graves, and we became very, very good friends. And just because we got put on the bill together, and it's been profound since then. So yeah, I think we were in a good place to kind of come out and do it quick. But yeah, I hadn't really done anything. It was like the first time I had to like learn how to sing and play guitar like that year, So it would all move pretty quick.
So was that the show Heather booked for you guys, right?
Yeah, that was the first one. Was
she's a genius, huh? Like was she put together? Like now look what it's become.
She has a really good sense of like matching bands together. Like a lot of promoters will just like throw 4 bands together. And Heather, like we met Coffin Salesman that way too, because she was like, I think you guys would go really well with these guys. And then we looked them up and we're like, well, yeah. But like she has a really good sense of matching like genres and styles. And like we've just made a lot of friends just by being like put on bills because she has a good sense of like,
yeah. That's awesome. Mia, shout out to you for, hold on. Here, we're going to cheers right here.
Oh, I have a mason jar too.
Yeah.
Wait, what did I do?
I always feel like a psycho when I'm drinking out of a giant mason jar. But like you guys know I'm a giant human being. Like I have giant hands, so like when I grab it, it looks like a normal glass to me.
Yeah, right.
So and now Mia, I know you've been in. When you were on, we talked about the other bands you've been in, and what makes Your Friends in Hell like the band? for you guys? Crab, you too. Like all you guys. Like what makes this like the project?
I think, I mean, I have only been in like a couple of other bands, and I actually did quit a band to join this band, but it wasn't bad blood or anything. It was just kind of like the band that I was in previously was like we meet sometimes for practice, like we have shows sometimes, and it wasn't like a big commitment, and it was kind of just like a thing to do. And like those guys are great. And I think other bands, the band before that was like, I guess my rule for bands, like at any time I've joined one, has been like it needs to be fun, and like because obviously unless we're playing big shows and going on tours and getting record deals and stuff, which like obviously will happen eventually for sure.
Very true.
But like, but until then, I need to have it be fun because like we're not doing it for money, obviously, and like I like these guys a lot. We have a fun band practice is fun, shows are fun. We understand each other well. We're on the same page like about things and. It's just like a good time. And I think we all have the same level of like commitment to it. It's not like we all take it seriously, but not to the point of like we're going to get jumped down each other's throats about anything. Right. So it's like we're having fun. We're playing shows. We want to like progress. We want to like do recordings. We want to do more shows. Like I think there's like a vision that we all have and that we all kind of like are on the same page about. Whereas other bands like they're fun. They don't seem like they're going to go anywhere or the other problem, which is that there's just like toxic people in the band, which can happen. But yeah, no, we've always been kind of like on the same page. It just feels like we fit really well together, and it's fun, and like learning new parts for songs and stuff. Like it's always good. It's a good time. Like I feel like it's good. I like it.
Yeah,
they're fun.
Crap for you. Like what made this one like the one? You know.
Mm. Wait, was that me or is it you? Sorry, you go ahead.
Crabbert.
Von
Crab for a little old crab here. So it's a lot of things. I think first and foremost, I think Shotgun's creative writing is just awesome. He just takes you on a journey. Whether it's
I was gonna say that too. I just forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really seen. I was watching. The silly videos that Shotgun put out over the pandemic, and I was really drawn to it. I thought it was something unique.
Silly videos, you say?
Oh yeah.
That's don't
all right, so we're gonna circle back around to that. Continue.
But the point was, this was music that was creative. It was fun. It was catchy. It piqued my interest. It was something new, something exciting that I hadn't really seen before. First and foremost, I wasn't expecting to be asked to play bass, but I'm sure glad that I was. Like Mia said, I get along with these two very well. We're on the same page, same level of commitment. It's not overly serious. I've had that issue before in bands where it gets too heavy, and it's a tough balance with everyone's lives. But yeah, I love that we can play anything from punk to something that sounds like When We Were Alive. We're not in a little box. We kind of have this expansive expansive list of songs that we can kind of tailor to any kind of situation that we're in. I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, the Shotgun. I mean, let's. I mean, you created this monster, but why did you keep it?
Well, I mean, I feel
I am pretty cool, I guess.
No, I mean, I feel eternally grateful because I say it all the time, but I'm far and away the least talented musician in the band, and I'm very lucky to have these guys to help because they have a lot more talent and experience at their instruments. And as people, I feel like we do come at it from this point of like. We've all lived lives and had careers and had good times and bad times, and we've gotten mature enough to know that life doesn't instinctively hand you the good stuff. You got to like find it on your own, So we found this nice group of people that we like working with, and that we get to do this is everything. It's honestly, for me, I spent a lot of my 20s like always having the next big idea that I thought was going to be the thing that carried me through my rest of my life, like an idea for a comic or an illustration project or something, or just getting into aspects of my career. And I always felt really divided and uncertain, and nothing really felt right. And this is the first time that I really felt like I'm on the right track. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I really love that I get to do this event management that I like doing, as well as like write these songs. Like I was doing comics and I enjoyed them, but you spend like 2 months to write a comic that someone's going to read in like 60 seconds because it takes a lot longer to draw shit than people give it credit for. And like, and you know, I wanted to tell stories, but like stories take time. You're a writer, you know, like you want to really tell a story with subtlety and meaning, and that can be a novel, you know, and it's not easy to do. I almost felt like when I started realizing this sort of fun challenge of like, I'm going to take a song and I'm going to say everything I want to say on this topic in this one song, it almost felt like cheating, because I was like, oh, this is like way easier.
I got 4 minutes to say everything.
Yeah.
Well,
But I like the
you,
challenge.
dude. You know how I can't do that. I need you to like. We need to have like a master class, you and I, and you got to teach me that, because like
Yeah.
I've been trying and I can't. It's too much. I have always been under the like I couldn't write short stories or short films because I want to expand too much. So I need help, buddy. I need your help.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to.
Oh, this
Yeah.
dude's verbose as fuck, though.
Oh, I don't shut the fuck up most of the time. No, I like. So I've always been a huge fan of like metaphor and symbolism, and I think it's like a puzzle to solve, and I really like that. So it'll be something like, I'm trying to think of like Honest Living, right? It's like a song about Dracula, but also it's very much not. It's very much about like working, and about like why do we spend so much of our lives working for giant companies that don't give a shit about us and things like that. Like figuring out this. I want to write a song about Dracula, but I want it to be meaningful. So what's the symbolism there? What's the metaphor to be inserted? Is like so much fun for me. It's like the fun part by a mile. Like, you know, even just our Bigfoot song being about like, I wanted to write a song about cryptids, but then I was like, so what do they mean? What's the meaning behind this? What's going on? And I think I started thinking about this idea that we're all painting false pictures of ourselves when we have social media and things like that. I'm playing the character of me when I'm putting up stuff on my Instagram or whatever. Is it the real me? Not entirely, right? You're creating this like stand-in version of yourself just by presenting on social media. So for me, the opportunity to like write a song and then turn it into a metaphor, and always kind of have every song have like two meanings. There's the literal one and there's one underneath it. It's just like it's like candy to me. I love it very, very much. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, I
I
totally.
love candy.
I get that, because like and like what you're saying, like with social media, like it can't be. It's not entirely you, right? Is that what you just said? Like, you know,
Yeah.
that thing is something that I've always struggled with, right? I don't think I have a single friend that knows everything about me.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You know, I hide so much of my life like from everybody. And I never understood why I did that. Cause like, it's like, you know, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like
I think people are rich and full of complexity, and I think it's a shame that we always everybody wants to turn themselves into like a character from a sitcom, when in reality we're all complex. It's actually the reason that we have a unique look on stage, and we kind of have characters and isn't to create this like illusion. It's because like I hate the idea of going up there and pretending to be some brand when I'm a person, you know. So for me to instead run headlong into it, where you're looking at a person who's clearly not a real person, who's clearly like an actor on stage, then I don't have to feel like I'm selling myself out by playing this like fiction. You know, it's like I'm just putting it in front, you know, like here, you know, and for me that feels kind of honest. I think that the rest of life, you know, we're awkward. I'm often the person standing in the back of the show not talking to anybody, because I'm like a secret introvert who needs to like go unwind and be quiet for a while. And up on stage, I can be the big gregarious whatever, because it's like it's not me. It's a character. It's like you know, and for me that's very freeing. So
yeah, but spooky's definitely has to be part of your life. I see 2 Ouija boards and a skull.
Yeah.
I believe that book down by Crab's knee, it says Buffy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Buffy
I
comic.
mean, you know what I mean. So it's still it's an extension of you, right?
yeah,
it's
sure.
still it's always going to be that. I feel
Inspired
like
by true events.
Yeah.
when I write, I always say like write what I know, write my life, but embellish it, right, to make it a story because. I think my real story would be sad and boring. So let's make it a little more exciting. You know what I mean? So I totally get that, and I think that's cool. But the thing is, like, it's weird because what you guys do is like you also like to the people who come to your shows, like it's allowing them to be who they are, and. Yeah. That's the inclusive part that I'm always talking about. That's the safe space that I'm always talking. Because I just feel like it and it's. I don't know. It's just an amazing thing that you guys do. And I'm not saying like not like I'm not saying the other bands don't do it, but like I don't know. I just see something special within your sets that and then I do a lot of, I'm like you. I stand in the back. You know, I watch people. Like one of my favorite things to do is when I bring someone to see Coffin Salesman for the first time. I just watch them.
Oh, you got
I got to see what their reaction. You know what I mean? And it's like that for you guys. Like, and so like I watch. And now we're gonna talk about the Halloween show. I was at this Halloween show, and I was like, this is such an amazing event. There's like you having people come up and they're playing games.
Yeah.
They're bobbing for something. I don't think they were apples. Were they apples?
What did we put in there?
No, it was like those ball, like
we had like a ball pit.
Yeah. There was all sorts of interactions going on, and like. Yeah. You know, you had the haunts people there, and they were like running around, and they, you know, and I was like, oh boy, and like one of them came up to me, I'm like, here we go, because like you know they're gonna pick on the big guy. Here we go. Oh yeah, but he was cool. He just walked right by. I'm like, all right, cool. Those
guys, those dudes are the best in the field. They can look at you immediately and know if you're gonna get scared or not. They're really good at it.
Yeah. So I was terrified.
Yeah,
of interaction, you know.
yeah, of course.
And like what you're saying too, like you're kind of introverted. I'm super introverted. Like outside of this podcast, like I try. Like I don't know. I just like I have to take myself out of my comfort zone a lot and go do things.
Yeah.
One of the things that was always funny about me is I tended bar for years. And like everyone would like loved me because I was entertaining and like. I remember I was down in Tennessee. I had opened up a bar for somebody, and like I had gotten like a following of regulars that would come to my shifts, and a few of them were like, "Hey, you should come to us. We're going to our house on the river down in Alabama." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I show up, and the whole time they're like, "Are you all right?" And I was just quiet. I'm like, "Yeah, no, this is me. Like you guys,
this is actually who I am."
Yeah, like they have to pay me to be the other guy, you know.
Right.
So it was that's just how you know. But like, so the Halloween show, like I said, there was all this interaction going on, all this fun and games, and you all made sure people were having a blast with it, right?
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the night. You asked everybody if they wanted to stand up to like for the last few songs.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I want to say it was when you played When We Were Alive that I realized how many fucking people were there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
I was like, holy shit. Because everybody was sitting for the most part, right? Because like there were performances that kind of like went with that. But I was like, because I was standing up by my seat and I was looking around. And especially like with the sing along parts, like how loud it was. Like I was like, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people here, and it was very like it was it was like a super diverse crowd too. Like it's not like all like when you go to a punk show and it's like a crust punk thing and everyone's all like dirty and crunchy. You know what I mean? It wasn't that. Like it was like you had a little bit of everybody there, and I was like, this is really cool. Like all I was a spectator, right? I was just a member of the audience, and I felt so like privileged to be part of that at that moment.
That means a lot to hear. Thanks for saying so. We appreciate that. Yeah.
It was amazing. You guys do what you guys do is absolutely amazing, and that's why like I'm always like beating home about like how good it is and how people need to come check you out and like and just like it's just like and then. And then, like I said, I didn't realize that When We Were Alive was such a did such a number on me until you guys dropped it in September and I heard it and I like broke down crying. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
I'm not gonna, I won't go too far. I won't have to give you guys like a payment for listening to my therapy here, but you dropped. So I saw that. I only saw one first. One of the two little 2-song, EPs you put out. And I grabbed it, and then I found the other one. I want to say I think I saw No Heroes first because I saw you had like something on Instagram about it.
Yeah.
And then like it was like a day later. I'm like, wait, what is this? What's this other one?
Yeah.
And
They didn't formally announce that one.
Yeah, they're sort of like, so that one.
It was peer pressure.
Yeah, it's peer pressure. I wrote that song kind of as a birthday gift for my partner, Jess, and like we made a little 2-track thing, and at the time, Crab was on Martha's Vineyard, like working a job, bartending. Actually, you guys would have that in common. Although more is restaurant managing, but still. But like we like, yeah. So Mia was helping me out, and then we managed to get some parts in and everything. But like I really was doing it as sort of an experiment in home recording and to have a gift because I'm always broke. So I usually give gifts that are making things. And after a while, like I just got a lot of people telling me like, you should post that, you should post that. So to be completely honest, I was kind of trying to sneak it under the radar. I was like, I want to have it up, but I didn't want to do a big announcement about it because even though I am very, very proud of the song, the recording was, I literally did it like at home on my computer with a couple of shitty microphones and things like that. So and meanwhile, like No Heroes, we had gone to a studio and paid much money for. So I was feeling like I didn't want to have it out there, but at the same time, we wanted to have some content available online and everything. And it has been really meaningful for me that so many people listen to it, and it rivals the other ones and how many plays it gets on Spotify. And I think it's really heartened me because it makes me want to do a lot more home recording and things like that because we're finding it turns out you don't have to go and spend thousands of dollars and necessarily to have something that people want to listen to. So, but yeah. That song, like any of our songs, it's never really about one thing. Like I wrote it for my partner, but I wanted everybody to be able to find something that they could relate to in it. It's meant to just be this reminder that all these little things in life matter. I think you get to an age and you feel like, so if I'm not rich and famous, is my life just throwaway? Does it not matter? And I think everybody feels that way sometimes. And like it does matter. Your life matters quite a bit. And every minute you spend in it matters. And if there's anything that you have, it's these collections of memories and experiences that you're bringing with you through life. And I think that's the most important thing is to just, whatever you got, even if it isn't much, make the most of it and love with your time and try to, spend it with people you care about and all that. So I was really, really happy when that song resonated. And I got to say that playing it for the first time, I believe it was at the Rockwell. I don't remember exactly which show. I think it might have been that Halloween. Hearing the people singing along really loudly to the end of that song, I think was probably the most emotional I've ever been on stage and probably the most meaningful, one of the most meaningful experiences of my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it gave me goosebumps there. And then when I heard it, like it did it again. I want to say right now, so there's been so the first time I ever like ugly cried to a song, I was in Tennessee, coincidentally enough, and I had heard like I was listening to like something on satellite radio, and they were talking about this the Mad Caddies. I didn't even really know them at that point, and they did a rock steady, like a reggae album of just covers of their favorite songs. And I was like, let me check this out because I like that. Like I'm a huge reggae fan, not really a ska fan, but let me check out the reggae part of this. And the first track on the album, they cover Bad Religion's Sorrow, and like I pulled over. And I was like fucking sobbing. And the second time that it happened was Off With Their Heads put out a live album. And I was like, I got through the song Disappear because like for a long time that song was really like, unfortunately, that song really related to my life. And I was like, oh, I'll be good. And then Nightlife came on, and then I just like I had to like pull over again because I was ugly crying.
Yep.
Fortunately, I was home when when I downloaded When We Were Alive, because I had the same effect. I just like it brought me right back to that night, standing up there. I didn't come down because I'm an old man and all that shit, like introvert. We already went over that, but I was standing up there on the stairs, and like again, like that whole emotion of like just seeing like all these people who are just being themselves, and they're there and they're having a great time and they're singing along to this song. And I, every second guess or whatever in my head I've ever had in my life hit me all at once like a baseball bat. And I was like, God damn, Shotgun.
Could you?
Yeah, well,
I think I messaged you. I was like, you ruined me.
Well, my sincere apologies. I do really appreciate that, and thanks for really. It's funny because since we don't have a lot of recordings, but we've been playing music for a little while, I often forget that part where you write a song matters. Because you get so used to playing the same song as largely the same group of people, and so I'm excited to get more recordings out there because I kind of forget sometimes that the words matter and people can hear them and will listen to them and celebrate them. I think that like if we're doing a show like Halloween, there's so many. It's really funny because we have to have all of these activities going on, or we don't have to, but we choose to have all these activities going on. And that's a lot of time setting all that up and making the plans for weeks and months in advance. And there's spreadsheets and there's people behind the stage, mostly Suds, who is like running this show from behind. And there's all these performers who are like in the makeup chairs and getting ready. But when we're on stage, like we can't check in on them. So it's like you sort of set up all the pieces like Mousetrap, and then we go up and knock it over and see if everything goes the way that it's supposed to. So by the time we get to like When We Were Alive, all of that is done, and there is only like, let's get everybody up here and sing a song, and it's such a release from on stage because all the hard stuff is over. And then we've been finding this 1-2 punch of When We Were Alive into Misfits cover band is just sort of like, bring them down emotionally, and then let's have a nice big
let's say goodbye with a good laugh, and you know what I mean. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, and we're really really lucky. I think like anybody, I had a really really miserable like COVID time. I missed all my friends. I had been in a bad time in my life and in my career, and it was just probably the worst time of my life. And I was writing these songs and thinking, every day I would get up, like I was unemployed. I needed a reason to get out of bed every day, and thinking that maybe someday people would hear these songs was like the one thing to get me out of bed every day. And so then to be up on stage and to be able to look down and see these people that we love very, very much, and strangers who we maybe love even more, like singing along, I don't know. I have to remind myself that whenever I feel like shit, because I'm like, things can get better and things change, and it can be a very beautiful life if you get out of your own way a little bit and let it be,
But like the recordings, like for me, like I feel like I still feel like we did it backwards. I still feel like we're cheating, but I guess that's just a me problem anyway. But like with other, like I came from doing like a lot of online recording and like doing remote recording and stuff, and so I didn't really play out that much. And then we have like very few recordings. We got to recordings later on, and it didn't even really seem to matter because the whole experience of like playing all these songs for people, and they're only alive at these shows, and then like people learn them from just like coming to see our shows, or they don't. Like I've seen people. One of my favorite things is like looking into the audience during the Swiss cover band, and the first part happens, and some people who have never seen us are like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
And then by the second one, they're like, "Misfits cover band," and like that's so fun.
There's always some guy who hears the first Misfits cover and is like,
yeah, no, I know, but I love that. And like, or like when I first joined the band, and you were like, I'll just play some songs, and you can like see how they sound. And you played Real Real, and I like laughed when you were like, his name is Bigfoot. And then afterwards, you were like, I forgot that song was funny because we play it so much. And I'm like, it's funny. Yeah. Well, like it's the same thing. Like you always hear people like giggle when his name is Bigfoot. So it's like the visceral reaction of like hearing people react to these songs and like really sharing them and like interacting with people is like The recordings are just like, and now you can listen to them whenever you want, which is like, that's
Right.
cool. But then it's also like, yeah, but come hear them and come yell them and like, you
Yeah.
know, sing with us and stuff. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's tough because recording scares the shit out of me.
I think that's normal.
Yeah, like I'm not really that scared of playing shows. I was that first show I barely remember, and my hands were shaking, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
And then some of the ones that followed that were like bigger shows or playing with cool other acts, like playing with Franz and stuff like that, was like really made me scared and excited. But like, but recording scares the shit out of me because you just got to get it right, you know. And like you fuck up on a live show and everybody laughs and you keep playing, or it becomes a part of the charm of the experience. It's just, you know, oh, they messed up but they kept going. Nobody expects perfection, and in fact, the things that aren't perfect make it even better. But eventually, you have to get this like this platonic idea of the song perfectly recorded and in existence somewhere, and that's been scary. That's part of why. Also, I'm broke all the time, so I haven't really
You
been
were
able to.
figuring it out.
And recording studios are expensive. So, but yeah, we are planning on it. We have some plans. We're like Crab said, we're working with our good friend Phil on some recordings, and we've got some other plans too. So we're really excited to get more stuff out there.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing too, I was listening today, over and over and over, like the last the two little, you know, 2 shots that you guys put out, and I was like, the difference between the two. I'm happy that you put them out as separate things because like the vibe is just completely different for them, but they fit each other, and at a show they would work, obviously, right? Because that's how that's the performance part of it. But like, you know, when we were alive, like I was listening to it, and I was like, God damn it! Today, I'm like, this reminds me of like David Bowie-esque. And I can dive into that later on for you if you don't understand. But like I was like, oh man, like it was just, I don't know, it just kind of like, it's just how the whole thing kind of plays out. I'm just like, it just reminded me of like not like, it didn't sound like a David Bowie song, but it reminded me of like a David Bowie song. You know what I mean? Nothing in particular either, just how like, just, I don't know, that could be the weird writer in me. You know what I mean? That picks everything apart. But then I, you know, the No Heroes started, Misfits cover band, and then Jason was right, and I'm just like they're just so much fun. It's just so much fun.
That's what we shoot for, man.
You know, yeah. And then like just like your vocal pitching, what you do with each song too is cool because like you change it a lot. You know,
Yeah.
And like, is that difficult to do?
It works best when I'm really able to tap into like why I wrote it in the first place. Like if you can really put yourself back into that headspace, and now with the familiarity and the comfort of having the words memorized, then it can be a lot of fun. Because especially with songs like Jason or Misfits, I like to be sort of conversational about it and let inflection happen. You know, let like you're being talked at or yelled at by a crazy person.
That's your whole MO.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I would have to sing. Just fucking you know, just yell at somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I mean, I never really thought of myself as actually being a singer, and so I think in the beginning I was sort of covering my own ass, where it was like, if I'm being weird, then nobody can say that I'm bad. I'm just being weird.
He's just unique.
You know? Yeah, unique. And whereas like, you know, with the serious songs, it's like, you just got to sing that song well, man. That's all there is to it. And they're both interesting and scary in their own way. I think I like the songs where I can loosen up live and kind of let a little bit of chaos out of my voice, even if the sound people hate it. But like,
Well, you've gotten better at testing.
I've gotten
that.
better at standing back from the mic. I'm getting better at that.
Give a little scream.
Yeah, I want it. I always want it to be the case that you really never know what the next song is going to be. I'm a big believer in the idea that if I don't like a band, it's not usually because I'm not thinking on technical proficiency. I'm not like looking at any of this shit. It's like if they're like 4 songs in and all the songs sound the same to me, that's when I really start to tune out and I really lose it. You know. And there's a lot of bands who everybody in it is technically very, very impressive, but the songs don't like do anything. You know, and I'm sure other folks would call it gimmicky or whatever, but I just really think that you got to give it something that becomes memorable. Yeah. And I think it's important when you come see one of our sets, the tonal variation is going to be wide, and you're gonna remember something. You're gonna remember something. It'll be like, you know.
But I mean by that same note, like that's the bands that we've found either by playing with them or like just seeing them. Like Alex Sullivan, that dude Alex Sullivan is like a guy that I think Caitlin and I both have been on bills with, and like he's just incredible. He's an amazing singer. He's great songwriter, great player, and he has like a really magnetic stage presence and like is a little weird. And like I feel like all the people that we gravitate towards or the people that we like a lot are people who are doing something different, who either their music is different or weird, or their stage presence is like kind of weird and like fascinating. And I feel like those are the people that we gravitate towards. And so we've got this like snowball creation of like a community of little weirdos who we see another one and we're like, yes, come into the fray.
Right, a little Katamari.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Like Alex Sullivan was like, we were on a bill with him, but like we saw him and we just thought he was so great, and then we were just like, we gotta like do a show with him or like
we do. We have a really creepy collector quality.
I know. We're like, I feel like a weird, one of those like weird old timey talent scouts sometimes if we're at a show and I'm like, he's really good.
Right. We gotta go get him.
We gotta go get him.
We have nothing to offer, but we have to get him.
Hey, I like your moxie.
Yeah, right.
But like, I don't know. But it's cool because then we do this thing where we go to shows and like that's, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like we go to shows, they come to shows, and it creates this whole like thing of like, it doesn't feel like it's obligation. It feels like it's like we really like you, you really like us, and we're like creating this little support system.
Yeah, I've really just loved having so much to do. Like every week, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go see KCUF in Lowell, or you know, Thou Merciless Graves is playing tonight, or you know, whatever. I mean, like, it's just nice to have all of these bands that are kind of watching each other and going to each other's stuff and supporting each other, and yeah, we do really try to keep our eyes out for the folks who are surprising. That's my favorite thing is when somebody's one of our kind of rules that we sort of like try to run by is not being music for musicians. Now it doesn't mean that we're not trying to, like, we've got some great instrumentation from these guys
We have a
in the
real
band.
sloppy quality that we
That's one way to put it. But for me, it's more just like, I think your casual person, they're not really maybe listening for that rad guitar solo. But if there's like a cool, punchy lyric that they're going to remember, then that matters. You know, if there's like a weird, surprising changeover in the middle of the song, or some weird tension that builds for a long time in the beginning, like an Honest Living or something. We're always kind of trying to think about like, what's, if we're at an unfamiliar venue, what's going to make the people at the bar like turn their head because they think they're hearing something pretty cool up on stage right now, right? And like that's definitely something that's sort of in our principle. And we like other bands that go for that too, you know. So
right, like if you're at a bar and you're watching a band and 12 people stand up and say Jason was right,
right,
and you're
They're
like,
probably
wait,
pretty
what?
yeah,
What is going on? Over
you know, you're gonna want to know what's up with the song.
Yeah. And that's the whole memorable thing. And that's absolutely one of the reasons I love this band too. Is just creating memorable experiences. It's so much fun to come up with creative, fun ideas for what's going to be at Halloween. What little bits are we going to throw in?
Yeah.
It really gets you going. It keeps you invested. Keeps you excited about what other stops we can pull out next time.
Yeah, yeah. It does make it tough because, you know, every so often we just got to play like a little show at the Jungle or Kodo or something, and we treat those like those are just fun. Let's just play some songs and have a good time. Like we could be in band practice. Why don't we just go and play some songs for people? But it is tough because I do always want. It's hard not to want everything to have a cool gag and a bit like Halloween or something does. But for us, it's great to be able to do both. I just always want the audience to do something too. Truth be told, I think for me, a big part of it in the beginning was that I was like not super confident in my own music. So I was like, if we could throw a bunch of like, I don't know,
Throw a bunch of weird
Ring
shit at the
toss.
wall.
yeah, naked people in ring toss, like then that'll take up most of the attention. But it turns out people like the music, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The chemistry between you guys seemed really, really awesome too. Like that's like, and I mean, just sitting here talking with you guys, you know what I mean, and it reflects on stage. So are we back to a 3-piece for now, or
Yeah, we're long term looking for a drummer or a percussionist. If anybody out there is listening,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we kind of realized we got everything that we love right here, and we didn't want to let it slow us down. So though we might not be able to play the big loud punk jams the way that we would like to, we're still really proud of the stuff that we do with just the three of us. So you know, I think someone's going to come. I think people like what we do, and it's also just since we like spending time together so much, we really want to make sure we get somebody that we like spending time with too. Which, by the way, I should say, we have liked spending time with all of our drummers that we have had. They're wonderful people. We love all of them. So, but just it was more other stuff didn't work out, you know. Life stuff, you know. But they're all good people that we're really lucky to have spent so much time with. But yeah, we're kind of focused on us, and then ideally, the right person sees what we do and they say that looks like fun, and I'd like to be a part of it. It's obviously tough to get drummers. Everybody jokes about it, and it's true. Like, we live in the city, people can't really practice drums in their home apartment or whatever. So you don't see as many drummers, and then every drummer that exists is in fucking 9 bands.
Yeah, every drummer we know is in like at least 3 bands.
Yeah. So yeah.
Is
But
there
yeah.
is it so there's no slowing down then for shows? There'll still be shows and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We tend to let the promoters and whatever know, like, hey, just in case you've seen us before and it's part of what bill you're putting us on. But everybody's been like, no, we just want to have you there, so that sounds great. So we try to curb the show towards it maybe a little bit. Like, you know, if we're going to do like a Halloween or something, maybe we bring the other, we pick other bands that are a little bit more acoustic forward or whatever, so it isn't like one super loud band and then a bunch of quiet bands necessarily or things like that. But
I do feel like there are, I mean, maybe this is just within our circles, but I do feel like there are a lot of bands popping up now that are like just guitar and bass, or like you know, the person with the one weird instrument.
oh yeah,
It's just my favorite. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there seems to be a sort of like resurgence of bands without drummers anyway, and like I do think we've done the work of like doing practice and being like which songs don't really work with drums, and like so far we've been pretty lucky in finding that like a lot of them work fine without drums.
I was gonna say, I feel like your song, like, yeah, your songs definitely could go without drums and still be just fine.
Yeah, like I think we had this fear that they weren't gonna work, and like we started playing through them, like let's like get a list going of like which ones don't work, and every time we played most of the songs we were like, that one works pretty well.
Yeah.
Like,
I think so upon starting the band, I really thought it was going to be like open mics and street corners and stuff for a long time, because I didn't know how hard it was to
I
get a
haven't played
show.
a single street corner with us.
Yeah, which, by the way, if anybody's trying to get shows, it turns out you just got to send a couple emails.
Yeah, right.
But like, but I think at the time I really expected that the band was going to have to be like modular, because there might be times that we're playing in some quiet little bookstore, and then there might be times that we're playing like up on a stage. So we had to be able to be like acoustic and unamplified and quiet, but then also be big and play those shows too, and be able to be flexible. So that's sort of always been in the DNA of the band. And we do get pros and cons of both. Like, don't get me wrong, I miss having the big loud drum shows. Those are really fun, and they feel, you know, you feel like a rock star when someone's smashing cymbals on stage with you. But at the same time, every time we play a show that we don't have drums, we get people being like, wow, I really noticed so much more this time without the drums. Like, I noticed like a really cool bass riff that Crab's doing, or there's a line in the song I never noticed before, and with everything kind of down, you can appreciate the subtlety a little bit more, you know. So there's pros and cons to either incarnation at the moment, you know. So
Yeah. And I don't want to ignore Just Like Heaven, because we talked about every other song that you guys put out in September. Great cover.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the B side of the birthday present.
Yeah, so that was kind of it. So that's favorite song. So I was like, I'll write a song and then we'll do a little cover of that. We've never actually played it live, which is funny.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to eventually, because we all do like The Cure, and it would be fun to do that.
I think it's cool when someone can take a song and like cover it and give it truth to what it was, but also make it their own. And
Oh, yeah.
because like it took me a minute to realize it was like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? Like it took us, because I'm like, oh, this is a Your Friends in Hell song, and I'm like, no, it's not. Wait.
No, I love that. I really believe that, generally speaking, bands should go out of their way to make sure that the song sounds like them and not the original. I mean, there's a fun musicianship in learning how to do it like right, but I think that for bands, they should learn how to make it like theirs. We have a little bit of a built-in quality to that, because like we got an accordion in the band, so like
we have a little cheat code.
that's gonna sound like accordion, you know. And it works out for me because I can't really do the guitar solos, but Mia can do them on the accordion, and they sound pretty good. So like if we're doing like The Kids Aren't All Right by The Offspring, like that's stepping in for the electric guitar, like on a lead part, sounds pretty cool and like different from the original, but in a way that still sounds like it. So We don't do a ton of covers because I always get worried that you get too known for the covers and not for the
Yeah,
original.
no doubt. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you guys are known for the Misfit cover band song, though.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
The amount
That's
of
all you
people
need.
that
That's all you really need for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's So
Yeah.
I want to shift real quick. Crab, what is your and I ask everyone who when I find out that they've worked in some part of the restaurant hospitality industry. What is your special power?
Special.
What is the thing that you? So with me, I could take 10 drink orders at once, make them, take another 10 drink orders, and then have to put 20 in at the computer.
Oh.
Also, I was as for tending bar, I was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Very entertaining. Until I became miserable, and then I was just mean. I was like, "Now I gotta go."
It's the trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't know if this is a superpower, but I'll just say that I'm also a natural introvert, and the restaurant industry helped me pull myself out of that. I was forced to talk to people. Eventually, I understood how to make dad jokes, and then how to get people excited about that, which is a whole different step.
Yeah.
So I always did really well with organization. Like I was a service bar, top flight service bartender. I don't know. Like I'm very comfortable with making people feel welcome, make jokes. I have a whole Rolodex of bar jokes that land.
That's
pretty-
good though. That's good to have. Like,
Yeah.
But the amount of people that recognize Crab
All
when
the
we
time.
go out,
All
like
the
it
time.
happens at least once, I think, every time we go somewhere, and they're always like got
Yeah.
nothing nice, nothing bad to say about them.
Yeah. Restaurant people love crab. Love crab.
I just did well in the chaos. I don't know. I just
that's definitely people. Listen, I remember I was running a surf bar in Rhode Island on the beach, and like I remember I had to like hop back behind the patio bar one night, and I felt like we were in a scene of The Walking Dead. It was just arms, and so you have to be able to thrive in that chaos to be able to you know what I mean. Like you got to be able to handle that, So that's definitely a superpower.
It's like the adrenaline and the keeping things together and keeping the ship running when it's just 4 deep, absolute nightmare chaos, and then you actually have real nightmares of
Bar
work
nightmares.
of bar nightmares.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I lived above that bar that summer, and
Jeez.
I thought it was going to be awesome. I'm living on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I did the same thing on Martha's Vineyard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're gonna do bar talk real quick. What is your specialty? What is the drink that you make that people would like want from you?
Well, for the longest time, we had something called like a tender's whim or something, where people just gave you a couple of items that they like or flavors that they like, and you had to make something original for them on the fly.
Oh,
And I
Jesus
got
Christ.
so good at this because I would get tickets with 10 of those on them that said like, oh, not too sweet, obviously not too sweet, and fruity but X. So I'm good at adapting my cocktails to how people want them. So I've made so many drinks just on the fly.
That's awesome.
And then Naked and Famouses.
Yeah.
I was, being on the beach, the rum drinks were really my forte. But like, once this guy that worked for me was like, he was just like kind of arrogant, and he was telling me about, I was making a mojito. He's like, "You're making it wrong. You got to slap them in." And I'm like, "Whatever, dude." And then I started slapping them in, and I swear I've made thousands of mojitos, and people love them.
Oh yeah.
And
Gotta
and I slapped them in. But I made it a show. Like making a mojito is like I put on a performance, like with like slapping them in and then muddling and so. But I've never had a mojito. I've made thousands of them. I was known in Tennessee. I was like everyone came for I made a vanilla mojito that everyone loved, and I've never drank one because I don't want to make myself one.
Wow.
That's fair.
That's very interesting. Wow. I
Gotta slap the mint though.
You gotta slap that
It
mint.
actually releases the essential oils.
The top
Yes,
ones.
yes. But what you're doing, like, dude, the whim drinks, like that's I would never be able to do that. I would never.
It was awful, but also made me really good and fast
Yeah,
very
I bet.
quickly.
Yeah.
Despite, it's
Gotta
just
think on your
like,
feet.
yeah, it's just feet to the fire kind of situation.
I'm the guy that can't help but sigh and roll my eyes when people want lemon drops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because you make them and then they always want one more. They always want one more. You know, I'm like, okay, so. So what's up next for your friends in hell? What do you guys have coming up through the pipeline? Are we going to start recording more songs?
Yeah. So
Writing
we're
new
working-
songs.
We're working with our friend to record some songs. We're going to finally get some of our older classics recorded. It's going great so far. We're really looking forward to that.
It's coming together faster than we expected.
Yeah, which we have to, by the way, figure out a day to go see him. But,
Yeah.
we'll get back to that. And then we have a few things coming up in the spring. We're going to be playing in January at the Capitol Theater before a movie that should be fun.
Ooh,
Indie movie called Clay Zombies 3D, I think. And
really? When is that?
that's the 26th, I'm going to say,
think that's
with some
right.
certainty. That's with our good friend Biff from Battle Mode, like is doing some cool booking for the Capitol Theater and running the fourth wall.
Is that
So-
December, January?
No, January.
January.
And then
I'm gonna have to see if I'm off that day.
yeah, and then we have got a couple of things coming up in the spring. We're gonna go back to the Rockwell twice, so we will be back in March for Revenge of the Selkie with our great friends on Merciless Graves, and I believe that's going to be Swally and Coffin Salesman too. So that'll be a hell of a show.
The gang's all
Yeah, the
here.
gang will be there. And then we do have a date booked for Halloween yet, which I'll post about later, but it'll be at the end of April. So that'll be another exciting one. And we always try to go a little bigger and harder every Halloween and pull out the stakes a little bit more. So
You're gonna have to book it at Gillette if you go any bigger.
I know.
We need to just move the plot a little bit further every
Yeah.
Yeah, a little further back, a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. We always said this is a Saturday. We've been doing it on like Tuesdays. Because obviously,
Oh,
like
right.
we didn't have a lot of theater cred at the time, but now we kind of do. So now we get to do it on a Saturday. I'm really excited about that. That'll be cool. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, and where can people find your friends in hell?
Well, we are now on Spotify, so you can find us on Spotify at Your Friends in Hell. We also on Bandcamp and Instagram and Facebook, and they're both all under Your Friends in Hell. Believe it or not, nobody took that. So that one.
Those are your friends from hell, but they're not very active.
Yeah, so I think we got that one beat. And I didn't know about that for the record. I did Googling when and I couldn't find anybody with our band name, but what are you gonna do?
That's when my
There is
mom
also a
forgets
band
our
in California
name.
called Friends in Hell, but not your. But I don't know. Hopefully we get bigger than them. And
When my
we'll
mom
see.
forgets the band name, she's Hell Friends.
Yeah.
Hell friends.
Is that right?
Hell Friends.
Like,
I
yeah,
like that though.
you got it.
That's what you should call all the people who listen, the hell friends.
The Hell
Yeah.
Friends.
That's what we call it. Yeah.
Friends of Hell.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for spending your Sunday afternoon with me. I know Crab is hungry. I apologize for taking up
You
lunchtime.
must feed.
No, I need my crab food.
We'll just sprinkle it
Yeah,
down.
a little couple
Yeah.
of pellets at him.
Thank you guys for everything that you do. Thank you for always being kind to me, and I love you guys to death. I really
It's
do.
easy to do.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we really
for sure.
appreciate it. We love you
Likewise.
too,
Are you
Trey.
kidding?
It's always a pleasure
Happy
to
to
see
have
you.
you.
We
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate
you
it.
for doing this. This is
Yeah.
I
Of
love,
course.
I love the
And-
show and
Yeah.
When it's time to come back and do another one, let's do it in person. Let's do that
That'd be
one. in
great.
person.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We would love to do that.
I got the setup to do it. I just need to find a cam. I'm gonna have to make Jeff start coming with me to these things and
Yeah.
video them so I can put the clips up. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes
But
sense.
yeah, thank you guys so much, and everyone should go check out Your Friends in Hell
Yeah.
and ugly cry to When We Were Alive.
Yeah, I insist.
That's a ringing
Yeah,
endorsement.
All right, see ya.
All right, thanks.
All
right.
We appreciate it.
thanks, Trey.
Bye.
Thanks, bud.
All right, and that's the show. I want to thank Your Friends in Hell for being today's guests on the Struggling Artist Podcast. In the show notes, you will find links to their social media, to their Bandcamp. Go grab their music. Check it out. It is phenomenal. Thank you to Chris Chavez and Jeff Bousquet for being producers of the podcast. Check out their Instagrams. You can find Jeff at RB Image, and you can find Chris at 716 The Sound. Thank you to State Line Records for sponsoring the podcast. Mark is an amazing human being who believed in what we were doing from the very beginning and has been by our side the entire time. Mark, I can't thank you enough for everything you do for us. Head over to StatelineRecords.com. Check out what Mark has from the label. Pick up some records from him or CDs. I think he still has some CDs left. You can go grab some of those too if that tickles your fancy. Thank you to everybody over at Patreon supporting us. If you want to become a patron, head to patreon.com/podcast TSA. Tons of podcasts over there on the Patreon that are exclusive to the Patreon, as well as early episode drops. And we do things from time to time. All of the money from the Patreon goes to contribute to the podcast or projects that we have in the making, and is much appreciated. And I thank every one of you for that. Everybody who votes for us for the Boston Music Awards or, leaves us a message on the voicemail line, which is 774-570-1552, 774-570-1552. Or text that line as well, or leaves us an email at trev@thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. Tells your friend about the podcast, tells your friend's band to go talk to this guy, try to get on the podcast. I appreciate everyone who listens and interacts and does those sort of things. It really does help. It gives us more visibility. Apparently, with all the clips we've been putting up there on the Instagrams, that we are slowly getting put into the algorithm of things, which is awesome. And it couldn't be done without all of you, and I appreciate every single one of you who takes the time to listen to these episodes each and every week. Thank you so much. It is time to get out of here, and the band Your Friends in Hell was so kind enough to give us a song to play. This is off of their 2-single EP. I don't know if that's how you call it, but it's called No Heroes, and the song is called Jason Was Right. This song's a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoy it. Take care of yourselves, and we will talk to you next week.
Good afternoon, campers. Welcome to another beautiful day here on Camp Crystal Lake. Seems to me it just gets a little wilder each and every day. So hurry up and do nothing. Pray it goes away. We've got problems, they've got solutions. We've got a lot to gain.